presenting Margaux to be married to Mark.
Her mother and I.
Thank you, Philip. Greetings. Please take your seats.
What a journey it's been for you two to be here today. And welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us today in this beautiful, mystical place as we celebrate the marriage of Mark and Margaux. My name is Annie. I am Mark's oldest sister. I am blessed, excited, and honored to be here today to witness and to solemnize the marriage of Margaux and Mark. I love you both very, very much. Dearly beloveds and honored guests, we are gathered here today in the sight of God and the company assembled to witness the giving and receiving of the marriage vows. Marriage is an institution ordained of God and not entered lightly or in jest, and only after much consideration. With that, I must ask, Margaux, will you have this man to be your husband, to live together in the covenant of marriage? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and keep him in sickness and in health, and, forsaking all others, be faithful to him as long as you both shall live?
I will.
Mark, will you have this woman to be your wife, to live together in the covenant of marriage? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, and, forsaking all others, be faithful to her as long as you both shall live?
I will.
To everyone here, will all of you witnessing these promises do all in your power to uphold these two persons in their marriage? If you do, please say in unison, we will.
We will.
Kevin and Danielle, if you could please remain standing, and the groomsmen and the bridesmaid may sit down. Except for Lucinda, sorry. At this time, Lucinda Keck, Margaux's dear friend, would like to share some special words.
Today is a very special day. You're gathered together with your closest friends and family here on this beautiful island that has such meaning for you. You're about to embark on a new chapter of your life, one filled with adventure and growth through knowing one another through a more intimate way, and more importantly, coming to know yourselves in the presence of love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of right or wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Meeting anyone in our lives is an encounter of love, and in the other you see yourself. As you treat him, you treat yourself. As you think of him, you will think of yourself. For in him you will either find yourself or lose yourself. Relationships offer us the opportunity to see ourselves, especially in marriage. One of the very few things we have control over in our lives is what we choose to think and how we choose to perceive the world around us. So relationships offer us a mirror to know our own thoughts and perceptions. Are they of love or are they of fear? Relationships also offer us the opportunity to practice forgiveness, cultivate patience, gentleness, understanding, compassion, non-judgment, and of course love. Each moment that arises, we have the choice to practice any one of these, and in turn to know ourselves as the source of that love. We can invite love into every relationship and to deliver us from the temptation to judge or find fault. We always have the choice to be right or happy, but not always both. And forgiveness is the choice to see people as they are now. The more we're able to forgive, the more we're able to see people for who they truly are. Relationships are reborn as we let go of perceptions of one's past, just like the rain. We always have the choice to emphasize what someone has done right rather than wrong. Darkness is really merely the absence of light, and fear is merely the absence of love. We can't get rid of darkness by meeting it with more darkness. The choice to love is not always easy. We put up terrible resistance to giving up our fear responses, but the choice is ours to see the most loving perceptions in any moment. Inner peace in any relationship doesn't come to us from the outside. It comes to us from the inside. It's our work, and it's our choice to do that work. Peace stems from forgiveness. Pain doesn't stem from the love we're denied by others, but rather from the love that we deny them. And so, relationships with willingness offer us the opportunity to keep our hearts open, regardless of what's going on around us. Each marriage has the opportunity to commit and participate in the process of mutual growth and forgiveness, and to share in the common goal to cultivate more love. Marriage offers us a safe space, a gift to a man and a woman to explore and to unite. It is a gift that has the opportunity to cultivate more love. A marriage is meant to be a blessing to the world. It is because it is a context in which two people might become more than they would have been alone. As with anything, the key to a successful marriage is the conscious awareness of love. So as you embark on your journey together, know that you always have that choice. The choice to choose love over fear, judgment, anger, resentment, jealousy, control. You have the choice to hold one another with kindness, gentleness, compassion, understanding, and wisdom. You have the opportunity to rejoice in the truth, in the trust, in the hope, in the faith, and most importantly, in the beautiful love within you. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy, does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres.
Thank you, Lucinda. And now Jessica, Mark's other and equally awesome sister, would like to also share some words she chose especially for this occasion.
So this is from a much younger generation who may not necessarily know about marriage. It's an excerpt from All I Ever Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. All of what I really need to know about how to live and what to do and how to be, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sandbox at nursery school. Here are the things I learned. Should share everything, play fair, don't hit people, put things back where you found them, clean up your own mess, don't take things that aren't yours, say you're sorry when you hurt somebody, wash your hands before you eat, flush, put the toilet seat down, wash your hands after you put your toilet seat down, warm cookies and cold milk are good for you, and give them to someone who feels sad. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work hard every day. Take a nap every afternoon and always be aware of wonder. Everything you need to know is in there somewhere. And it's still true that no matter how old you get, go out into the world, it is always best to hold hands and stick together. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica and Lucinda. Now, those of you who know Margaux know that she is a planner, just a little bit, in every aspect of her life. She is a professional planner, in fact, and as such she has had a large say in the rhythm, the content, and flow of today's proceedings, which makes sense, of course, since, well, it is the biggest day of her life. I love this aspect about her. among many other things, because it complements Mark's personality so well, he being a brilliant, quirky, thoughtful, always well-meaning, but sometimes unorganized and forgetful individual. One aspect of this ceremony that Margaux felt especially strongly about was to include the following text, which will be read by Mark's first cousin, Carrie. Margaux herself has said that these words capture the essence of the loving relationship that she and Mark share.
To love is not to possess, by James Kavanaugh. To love is not to possess, to own or imprison, nor to lose oneself in another. Love is to join and separate, to walk alone and together, to find a laughing freedom that lonely isolation does not permit. It is finally to be able to be who we really are, no longer clinging in childish dependency, nor docilely living separate lives in silence. It is to be perfectly oneself and perfectly joined in permanent commitment to one another and to one's inner self. Love only endures when it moves like waves, receding and returning gently or passionately, or moving lovingly like the tide. In the moon's own predictable harmony, because finally, despite a child's scars or an adult's deepest wounds, they are open, free to be who they really are and always secretly were, in the very core of their being, where true and lasting love can alone abide.
Thank you very much, Carrie.
I can see why those words are so meaningful to Margaux and Mark. Now, there's no way that Mark and Margaux could have ever chosen me as their officiant and not expect the unexpected. So, although I'm off script at this point, I'm going to throw in a few words of my own, and there's nothing either of you can do about it. First, I would like to share just a couple of brief quotes and anecdotes gleaned from some dear ones that are sitting right here with us today. I asked a few of them before the ceremony if they had any advice to you both on your wedding day. I'll share those now. If you need further explanation on any of these, please consult the quoted party after the ceremony. First, we have a story about Mark's and my paternal grandparents, Bill and Doris Laurie, Dirk's parents, who are watching from heaven today. This anecdote comes courtesy of my Aunt Chris, Dirk's sister, and our aunt, and it's about always putting each other first. Chris told me that Bill and Doris's marriage was always a higher priority than anything else in their life, even their children. Everything was done together. They were always a team right up until the very end. Us kids were satellites. After Grandpa did anything, Doris would turn to whomever was next to her and she'd say, "Isn't he wonderful?" And when he'd do something dumb, she would usually utter, "Oh, Bill." Of course, followed by, "Isn't he wonderful?" So next, on my mom's side, we have a little story about my maternal grandparents who are also watching from heaven today, Kenneth, Buzz, and Francis Miller. Well, my grandmother, Frances, had enough with the sofa at one point. They had 7 children. It was time for a new sofa. I mean, it was just, they had to get a new sofa. Being frugal and very mindful of their expenses, Buzz was not keen to the idea. Finally, she just said, whatever. She went and bought a sofa, put it in the living room. Well, apparently for the next 5 or 6 years, Buzz refused to sit on the sofa ever, and he had his own chair in the living room, and if company came over and someone was sitting in his chair, he would rather lie on the floor than sit on the sofa. So eventually he came around and he did use the sofa. So there's 2 lessons here. Number 1 is communicate, before you're making a big purchase, things like that. But then on the other hand, get over it. And then finally I have some brief pieces of advice from Aunt Margie and Uncle Mark. Advice from Margie Banner is to listen and to talk, to communicate. and I'll quote here, "'cause you can't read minds, even if you love each other." And then I don't know if she knew I was still writing, but then as she was exiting the room, she continued to mumble more words. She said, "Well, Mark can't read my mind, that's for sure. I think I can read his mind better than he can read mine, but that's just my opinion." And then from her husband, Mark Banner, he said, he was a little bit more succinct. He said, "Always give in to your wife. It doesn't pay otherwise. The agony is too agonizing. I've learned."
Chris
So-
said if Mama's not happy, no one's happy.
Exactly. If there's anything you take away from today, remember those. Remember those words. So those are some words to live by from those who love you very much. Now, I had a little difficulty coming up with a personal anecdote about my own marriage to share. However, my friend Google offered these words by Mark Twain, and this poem exemplifies everything that I would have liked to have written myself. He always, I find, captures sincerity and insightfulness so beautifully, and it's called A Marriage. A marriage makes two fractional lives a whole. It gives two purposeless lives a work, and it doubles the strength of each to perform it. It gives to two questioning natures a reason for living and something to live for. It will give new gladness to the sunshine, a new fragrance to the flowers, a new beauty to the earth, and a new mystery to life. And with that, it's time for Margaux and Mark to make their vows. Margaux and Mark, will you please turn and face each other?
Sorry.
Mark, please repeat after me. I, Mark, take you, Margaux,
I, Mark, take you, Margaux,
to be my wife,
to be my wife,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
for better or worse,
for better or worse,
for richer or poorer,
for richer or poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish till death do us part.
to love and to cherish till death do us part.
Margaux, please repeat after me. I, Margaux, take you, Mark,
I, Margaux, take you, Mark,
to be my husband,
to be my husband,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
for better or worse,
for better or worse,
for richer or poorer,
for richer or poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish till death do us part.
to love and to cherish till death do us part.
It's time for the rings. Danielle, will you please hand Margaux Mark's ring? Margaux. Margaux, please repeat after me. I, Margaux, give you Mark,
I, Margaux, give you Mark,
this ring as a symbol of my commitment
this ring as a symbol of my commitment
to love, honor, and respect you.
to love, honor, and respect you.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Kevin, will you please hand Mark Margaux's ring? Mark, please repeat after me. I, Mark, give you, Margaux,
I, Mark, give you, Margaux,
this ring as a symbol of my commitment
this ring is a symbol of my commitment
to love, honor, and respect you.
to love, honor, and respect you.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Today, Mark and Margaux have promised each other their love and have given each other rings to wear as a sign of their deep commitment. By the power vested in me by the state of Massachusetts, for 24 hours only on September 25, 2014, and for the small registration fee of $25 and the required handwritten note written on a post-it by my sister attesting to the governor's office that I am of high moral character, and before dear friends, beloved family, and our Father God above, I now declare that they are husband and wife. Mark, you may kiss your bride. Today's weather is a testament to the fact you will never know what will happen in the weather or in life. In that spirit, as you go forth, please remember these words from an Apache wedding blessing. Now you will feel no rain, for each of you will be shelter for the other. Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be warmth for the other. Now there is no loneliness, now you are two persons, but there is only one life before you. May your days together be good and long upon the earth.
Thanks, Annie.
Thank you, everyone. I am honored to introduce, for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. Mark and Margaux Laurie. Yep, you guys won.
Where have you been? I can't begin to know, but I believe it's going strong. Was it the spring? Then spring became the summer. You believed it on my mind.